Welcome back. Now let's get to some recent developments within Nigeria's upper chamber. While the ruling All Progressives Congress APC sharpens its focus in preparation for the 2027 general elections, Nigerians and political experts watch as the party is consolidating its political base and the Senate's pivotal role in supporting the executive's policy agenda. Well, at the same time, Nigeria's lawmakers are taking stock of recent legislative achievements, milestone tax reforms, and the establishment of regional development commissions, evaluating how these initiatives enhance both economic growth and representative in governance. Well, in response to rising security concerns, the Senate is also preparing to host a national security summit. You remember? Well, I'm sure you do. The initiative is expected to gather key stakeholders and produce actionable strategies to address Nigeria's complex security landscape through targeted legislation and policy interventions.
Meanwhile, political tensions persist within the upper chamber, spotlighting the ongoing dispute between Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan and Senate President Godswill Akpabio. Observers are closely watching to see what it would take to bring her back into the fold and how the Senate might mediate reconciliation to safeguard legislative stability. Joining us to unpack all of these developments is the Deputy Chief Whip of the Nigerian Senate, Senator Onyekachi Peter Nwebonyi. Good morning and thank you for joining us.
My dear sister, thank you for having me. Great
to have you. Maybe I will start from the conclusion of my introduction before we get into the bills in the House. Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, many people wondered why she was not let back into the House, and it felt like it was targeted at making her not come back because the Senate was going on recess for a while. Would you please share with us, what the update in that regard is?
Well, I never wanted to talk about that because we put that matter behind us, but to keep the record straight, we suspended her for 6 months, and as I speak to you now, we are observing our recess. So when we resume, we'll revisit the matter and know the proper step to take. That is the much I can say about that. But as an institution, that matter is behind us. We want to serve Nigerians that elected us to serve them, and we are focused in doing that. And as soon as we resume from the recess, we are going to take up other legislative activities, all geared towards giving Nigerians good governance, which they elected us for.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll definitely revisit that conversation again when the senators are back from recess. But let's talk about the legislative achievements over the past year. Number of bills, landmark bills, the tax reforms, Regional Development Commission initiatives. But let's start with maybe the tax reforms. Walk us through, the impact of this so far and, the role and how this is fared in the Senate and how you think this has impacted Nigerians.
Well, like you know, as Parliament, our duty primarily is to make law for the good government of Nigeria. And the 10th Senate, or the 10th National Assembly, under the leadership of distinguished Senator Godswill or Akpabio, have been tackling this constitutional responsibility headlong. As I speak to you, we've passed over 100 bills into law. Among them is the one you just mentioned now, the 6 bills creating the 6 regional development commissions. What is the rationale behind us passing these bills? We've observed with keen interest the need to complement what the states and local government areas are doing to bring democracy dividends closer to the people of Nigeria. And that is why we passed those bills to create this development commission. And I will start with the Southeast Development Commission. You agree with me that the end of Nigerian Civil War, which the Southeast Nigeria received a very big hit were left unattended. Most of the remedial programs that came after the war couldn't get to Southeast Nigeria. Most of those programs were diverted to Lagos and other areas that was not as badly affected like the people of Southeast. So we believe that the creation of the Southeast Development Commission is a right step in the right direction by the present administration to ameliorate the sufferings of the people of Southeast and to help in rebuilding most of the damaged infrastructures in Southeast, as a result of this that civil war. Outside that, you will agree with me that recently, due to the unruly activities of the separatist agitators, a lot of damages, lives and properties, have happened in Southeast. So there is need for this agency to collaborate with the state government to rebuild most of these infrastructures and compensate most of the families, built in the course of this Biafra agitation. So we've done much. Outside that, we have also passed so many other bills. Of course, the 2025 appropriation bill is there, and so many other bills. The Universal Basic Education Bill Act, we have to review it, in view of the growing, out of school, growing number of out of school children in Nigeria. We have to review the Universal Basic Education Act to make sure that stiffer penalties are created, against parents and guardians, to make sure that we send our children to school. So outside this, which I can mention, we've done over 100 bills, and Mr. President, as I speak to you, have assented to about 75% of them into law. So we are committed as a parliament to make laws that will guarantee good governance of Nigerian people. And I want to use this medium to appreciate our president in the person of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for thinking outside the box. I've always said it, and I'll continue to say it, that this is the time when I have a president that thinks outside the box. A man who came with the determination of doing things differently. Because not to do things differently, you will still have the same result. What we had in the past, a president who won election as a result of ethnic popularity. And in most cases, some of these presidents, they will come unprepared. They want to answer president, but they have nothing upstairs to offer. They have no solution to the economic problems facing Nigeria.
All right, hold the
because
there.
We have problems. We have economic problems. And what is required is solution to correct those economic problems.
All right, Honorable Nwebonyi,
so that we can make progress like other developed or developing countries of the world.
All right, let's hold that thought. We need to go on a break. When we come back, we'll expand from where you stopped as regarding making provisions to solutions for these problems. We'll be right back.
Who just joined us. This is Breakfast Central. We do have with us here the Deputy Chief Whip of the Nigerian Senate, Senator Onyekachi Peter Nwebonyi, who is still here with us. Right before the break, you were using the medium to indeed thank the President, especially for the way in which he is indeed handling the current economic situation and also the challenges. But that begs a question, because you did say that unlike other presidents, why unlike other presidents? I mean, before President Bola Ahmed Tinubu indeed came to power, there was also the late former President Muhammadu Buhari. After him or before him, there was also former President Goodluck Ebele, Azikiwe Jonathan, and also before him, there was a former late President Musa Yar'Adua. So are we saying that these presidents in their own capacity did not try to do what the current president is doing. Maybe you want to shed more light on that and also help us to understand how this will benefit Nigerians.
Honorable ministers, they've given you some insight into what we're trying to do.
We're trying to get the clip of one of the comments made by the president, and also passing the question to the Senator Onyekachi Peter Nwebonyi, who is here with us. Fortunately, it seems like we seem to have a little network connectivity challenge right here. But let's see if we can reconnect with the Senator Nwebonyi, and would like to get his comments. Right before the break, he did make a very strong statement that, the current president is doing what other presidents dared not do or did not do. And kind of like Olive, seems like a little bit of an indictment, especially. I
don't know if I heard him say other presidents. I feel like I heard him say, unlike other people who just talk about the problems or not prefer solutions. So it would have been great for us to have him clarify.
So, yes, let him clarify that. And also, I was also going to look at the Southeast
Development Commission.
Yeah, Development Commission. It's finally kicked off, especially from March this year. We would like to have asked questions around that, how the East will benefit, much importantly, with the fact that he also mentioned universal basic education. That's another conversation we want to have. And then we'll also look at having a conversation around every other thing, especially the bills that have been passed and what it will mean for you. The Senate, as you are aware, are currently on a recess. And these questions are questions that we would love to hear responses to and get his thoughts on each and every single one of them. So many questions to ask and so many answers that we are indeed seeking to get. But then again, let's see if we can still try our best to establish a connection with him. But should he join us, the conversation will continue. Right before the House of Assembly did go on a break, so many issues were indeed pending. Some of them are questions about how Nigeria will be able to get out of the current health situation, which is our health care. Is one question I also wanted to ask him. It also takes us back to one of our first interviews in the first hour, where our guest, who happens to be an honorable member, also talked about him pushing for a bill. And I wanted to ask him what he thinks about that bill as well. If we do have our senators or members receive their treatment here in Nigeria and also have their children's school here in Nigeria, doesn't he think it would help improve both the educational and the healthcare? Will that bill even see the light of day? There's another bill. Remember the bill of being untouchable, where we need to know why the bill was stopped at a certain level or the bill has not even been passed. Do we have him? Let's see if we have him as well, if he's back. Senator Nwebonyi, are you there with us?
Yes, I'm with you. I wanted to make more clarification.
Please go ahead.
On what I said about our past president and the current president, the difference between the two.
All right, go ahead.
That is where we had a mix-up, and if you allow me,
go ahead.
I would like to talk more on that.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I said the difference between the administration of our current president is that he is actually tackling the problem facing Nigeria headlong, and he is coming up with a sustainable, solutions to our economic problems. Unlike our past leaders that were giving us palliatives, to solve these problems, which never did. For example, it is only President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that was courageous enough to remove fuel subsidy. You and I know that fuel subsidy was a conduit pipe by which the resources of this nation were being siphoned by a few privileged individuals. But President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, being a man that is already made economically before becoming president, said, no, we cannot continue this way. Subsidy has to go. And I must tell you, before 2023 general election, all the presidential candidates, including P2B and Atiku, promised to remove fuel subsidy because we all understood that first subsidy was a scam. So Tinubu was the first president that was courageous enough to remove that subsidy. Today, we can have more revenue to share to states and to local government, all geared towards making life better for Nigerians. But in most cases, we shift our attention from the local government, shift our attention from the state government, all at the federal government, even when the federal government have laid a conducive environment for our people to be happy. So Tinubu remains a gift to Nigeria. Tinubu remains the best president Nigeria has ever had. Tinubu remains the man to come back as president of Nigeria come 2027. Like I said before, he is giving us sustainable solution for economic problems. Outside the removal of the subsidy, you can see what the president is doing in our infrastructure sector. Look at the existing roads connecting the 6 geopolitical zones are receiving attention. As I speak to you, I take you through Enugu, Aba, Port Harcourt Road. That road, under the past 16 years, was in a sorry state. But as I speak to you, within 2 years in office, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is the efficient Minister of Works, Senator David Nwebonyi, had completed 1 lane of that road from Enugu to Port Harcourt. By doing so, travel time is reduced, lives are saved, people are happier.
All right, Abi, you've talked about the gains from subsidy removal. When he announced that subsidy is gone, we did see the impact of that in the economy. The National Orientation Agency released a report that said that the federal government saved 84 billion naira as a result of fuel subsidy, and that it has gone into the financing of 40 key roads. But what would your response be to the people who say that this announcement of the removal of subsidy, these seeming monies that have been saved by the federal government, we're yet to see and feel the impact of this?
What I've said on what the president is doing in the area of infrastructure, you will see where the money is going. For example, outside fixing the existing road, which I've mentioned, of course, I did also mention from Abuja to Kaduna to Kano. That road is receiving very serious attention. About 70% is being done. Then from Abuja, Kogi, the other northern part of the country is ongoing. Now, outside that, we'll now look at the mother of all projects, which is the coastal road. You can doing to connect Lagos, towards Calabar, thereby creating an alternative economic route to Nigerians. Outside that is also doing Lagos, Badagry to Sokoto, also to open another commercial corridor for our brothers in the north. So this is where the money from the first subsidy, and outside that, my dear brother and sister, you can see the NEL Fund program of Mr. President. By doing so, Mr. President have indirectly program for all Nigerians. Today, no Nigerian child will drop out of university as a result of his or her inability to pay her fees and tuition fees, because Mr. President have created a program called NEL Fund to make sure that Nigerians didn't drop out of school. So
Senator,
when you look at all these policies and programs, you will see that this man means well for Nigeria. This man has all it takes to drive the economy, because he do understand the economy of Nigeria from the onset.
all right, Senator Nwebonyi, I mean, you've ruled out some of the achievements of the president, but if we are to ask, is the Senate aware of the needs, the current needs of Nigerians as a population? While we understand that infrastructure is very important to the development of every single economy, especially that of a developing economy like Nigeria, is the Assembly also looking at Nigerians our healthcare system. I don't know if you're aware, the doctors are going on strike. They've given ultimatum. Are you also aware of the fact that the NBS report also shows that most Nigerians find it hard to eat 3 square meals a day? I mean, many times when we interact with members who are obviously, supporters of the president, which is fair and good, but we also would like for you to look at some of the ills which is indeed bedeviling Nigeria's progress, especially in the areas of its citizens who are crying and asking for help. So what is the Assembly doing to answer the populace, the public, in regards to the health sector, in regards to the strong, tough economy which is affecting the pockets of every single Nigerian?
I'm not aware of the doctors' agitation based on their welfare, but I can tell you for sure that the federal government will engage them if they have any genuine requests for improvements in their welfare. I assure you that the National Assembly that represent Nigerians, which they are part of, will definitely stand by them to make sure that their welfare is improved, taking into account how sensitive the health sector is, to our existence, both as individuals and as a nation. So I believe that when that comes, we are going to address it, and I assure you that Mr. President does not joke with the health sector. All that need to be done will be done. All Nigerians should support the current administration. Instead of talking ill of the government of the day, you better come up with ideas, because it is ideas that rules the world. Mr. President alone is not, and him alone cannot transform Nigeria to be like America overnight. So Nigerians' cooperation and support is also needed. I'm calling for here. So, and let me also use this opportunity, to clear the coast on all these submissions that things are hard, something is on the rise, there is no food. I want to say that in as much as we want the government to live up to our expectations, it is also important that we as citizens should also play our role, as citizens, because the two are needed to complement each other for a nation to grow.
May I please ask
now,
the role?
What is the solution to hunger?
Yeah. May I please ask what the role of the citizen is in ensuring that we deal with the poverty? Well, over 133 million Nigerians are multidimensionally poor. So you've said that in as much as we expect the government to play its role, that the citizens have to play their role. Can you please share what the role of the citizen is?
The role of citizen, number one, is to support the government, is to obey the law. I don't want to say that we are lawless people, but if you watch what is happening, everybody is in a hurry. Nobody wants to queue. Nobody wants to observe the law. Nobody wants to respect the leaders. Everybody is in his own lane. That is not how to go as a people. As a people, I think we should come together. If you have good idea on how the president will run, we expect you to come up and share the idea with the people in government, and not to criticize the government. So that is the role we expect citizens to play. And I want to use this medium to also address another sector that is very, very important, which is agriculture.
Senator.
Yes.
Senator Nwebonyi, sorry. Please, before you move to the other sector, please, we're sorry for butting in. We just want to clarify the conversation by taking it one bit at a time. Don't worry, we have enough time to have a conversation with you, so we're good to go. You just highlighted what Nigerians are expected to do. And the responses we're getting from Nigerians is that they do not agree with you, and will state reasons why they don't agree with you. The minimum wage is 70,000 naira, Senator Nwebonyi. I don't know if you are aware that 70,000 naira cannot even transport a family of 5 in a month. And I don't know if you're aware as well that 70,000 naira, if it goes into the market space to feed a family of 3, it will not take them anywhere. That's point number 1. Number 2, you said if there are ideas. Nigerians have continued to ask, is it possible for the federal government, the members of the assembly, the presidency to cut costs? Or is cutting costs not a good advice that comes from Nigerians, especially now that things are tough? Because you say they are not law-abiding, but we're not talking about them being law-abiding. We're talking about them suffering and going through tough times. It's touching everybody. Senator, even they touch me when they follow you talk as well.
Senator, is it touching you?
I don't know if it's touching you, Senator.
Well, on the issue of minimum wage, you told me that before President Tinubu came on board, the minimum wage was 30,000 naira, but he has increased it to over 100%, meaning that he understands the economy or the rate of inflation in the country. So the 70,000 naira, of course, that is the benchmark for today. But I know that as things unfold and as we make progress, I believe that subsequent negotiation will come in and the needful will be done. But the truth is this, which is the point I was driving at before you came in with this question. The truth is that we should think outside the box like the president is doing. If you are a civil servant, for example, and maybe your salary is 100,000, you should think of what to do in your extra time to complement that. Because I am a senator of the Federal Republic, but I must tell you that what I get as a senator, I spend more than what I get on the as a senator. And how do I achieve this? Because I am a farmer. As I'm talking to you, by tomorrow, if you call me by this time tomorrow, I will be in my rice farm, because I cannot rely on my salary or allowances as a senator. The problem of my community alone is more than my salary as a senator. But most Nigerians do not understand this. And let me tell you something. Every day as a leader, you wake up. You wake up with text messages or people calling you for hospital bills or people calling you for the school fees of their children. And as a leader that will meet them at the polling unit again, you must go off your lane to make sure that you meet all these demands from the people. But senators are big men. They are enjoying. They're supposed to cut costs. But whereas in reality, we are suffering. But we're suffering and smiling, because it's a responsibility that you have undertaken and you must live by it and up to it. So Nigerians should think outside the box.
Honorable Nwebonyi, I think there's a bit of an issue with the network, but I want to just push back on something you've said. You've talked about Nigerians having the perception that senators are enjoying their big men, but they are suffering. I want you to sort of shed more light on the ways in which the senators are suffering. And I ask this because, again, making reference to what I said earlier, that we have 133 million multidimensionally poor Nigerians. This goes beyond finance. It goes into the state of our health sector, the state of our education. The numbers are daunting. So I'm surprised to hear this, because that's not the impression that Nigerians have of senators. I'm sure that you got your salaries and allowances. We've been asking for the longest time, how much do senators earn? Everything is shrouded in secrecy. Will you be willing, for example, to tell us how much you earn, seeing as you said that you have to rely on farming to be able to make ends meet?
Yes, I say it, and I say it with all sense of responsibility. That is the truth. The impressions Nigerians are having about some of our leaders is not the way it is in the actual sense. And I want to say it again, that I, as a person, spend more than what I get as a senator. So that tells you that it's not easy. It's not easy. And that is not the impression Nigerians are having.
So you know what?
Now,
Senator,
the point I was driving,
okay.
The solution to the problem is that our young youths should utilize their time in more productive engagement. For example, white-collar job is no more fashionable. I can tell you with my personal experience. I left the university in the year 2006, and I was offered a job as a state counsel in the Ministry of Justice of Ebonyi State because I'm a lawyer. So my question was, what is the salary of a state counsel? And by then, the state counsel was receiving less than 70,000. I said, no. One appearance fee will give me 100,000 in a very good case. Why should I go and waste my time as a state counsel when I'm a professional? So I went into practice, and within 2 years, I recorded a lot of achievements. As I must tell you, I've always encouraged my children, do not look towards white-collar job. Try to go into professionalism. So I want to use this medium to let Nigerian youth know of two things. One, federal government will not give all Nigerians job. That is not possible. Even America cannot give all Americans job. So it is a question of you doing your part and government doing their part. Nigerian youth should, one, think towards technology, think towards professionalism, think towards agriculture. That is the way to go. Because even if you make minimum wage, 500,000 naira a month, it will still not be enough for you and I. You know that. So it calls for people to think outside the box and take the challenge of the world as everybody's challenge. It's not the challenge of the government alone.
Senator,
the world is moving faster.
Senator Nwebonyi,
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
you've said a whole lot, but I would like your responses to be brief so that we can have more comments from you in response to the questions we're asking, because I did say we have enough time, but it seems like we really don't. Earlier on, I did ask about the doctors who have made a request, and you said you were not aware of it. And it brings to mind another question, because we do have questions also from the doctors who are equally watching you in this interview. And the questions they're asking is, do you use the medical facilities here in Nigeria? And as a sitting senator, are you saying that you're not aware of the doctors' demands, which has been going on in the news and everywhere? That's question one. And I would like just a brief comment, especially for the doctors who are watching now.
No, I stand with the doctors. That is what I said. I said that the parliament will at all times stand with the labor union, not just the medical doctors, but every other labor union, because we represent them, and we always stand by them to negotiate, to make sure that their welfare is improved upon. And I must say, there is no amount of money you pay to a doctor, commensurate to the sacrifices and the nature of job they render, because their job is completely essential service to humanity. So I believe that the relevant Ministry of Government should engage them immediately without allowing them to go into the whole rigors of striking and negotiation. We should abort the strike, because the strike, if happens, will definitely give rise to loss of lives and a lot of discomfort to our people.
But how can the Senate
I stand with the doctors.
But shouldn't maybe the Senate try, what steps would you say the Senate is taking to ensure that you wield legislative instrument, to ensure that we don't keep having these repeated cycles? Our correspondents oftentimes bring us reports, the state of these hospitals, the inside dilapidated infrastructures in these hospitals is why a number of them keep moving abroad. Earlier, we're hearing about the potential of moving a bill to restrict these doctors from going abroad so that they can serve here, saying that they got discounted education. But a number of them don't even have what they need to be able to practice as medical doctors here. Last week, we saw a roster of a surgeon that had to work 7 days a week. That's not just risky to him. It's risky to the people he's going to operate on, because that's too much pressure. So what steps would you say the Senate has taken or is taking to maybe wield legislative instrument to ensure that we don't keep having these repeated cycles?
Thank you so very much for that question. I must say that as a nation is multifaceted, in the sense that health sector is one of, but the present administration in its overhaulic approach to addressing most of these problems is doing well in the health sector. If you go through the 2025 appropriation bill, you see the reasonable percentage of money, is being allocated to the health sector. One, to fix the infrastructure deficit in the sector. Two, to improve the welfare of the health workers. It is also to make sure that areas has basic facilities, to attend to our people. So I believe that when this budget, particularly this 2025 budget, is fully implemented, which paid much attention to the sector, I believe that most of these challenges will be addressed. And of course, the health workers will have less ground to go on strike.
All right, Senator, as we look set to wrap up in a few minutes, you did mention about Nigerian youths. You talked about them doing something productive. And this, kind of like brings us back to the question we had asked you earlier on. If you are aware of what's really happening, especially with the youths, the reason I'm asking this is because you did say they should focus on technology. I don't know if you've seen the price of data now. I don't know if you're aware of the data price, which has indeed shot up. It's gone up. So if the youth needs to go into technology, they need to spend more money on data. And then you also talked about the senators who are suffering. And I'm wondering, Senator Nwebonyi, I didn't get a car that's cost about 160 million naira. And I don't know, I'm happy to tell you my salary if you would tell me yours as well.
Well, if you want to know my salary, it's very easy for you to do that. If you go to a relevant agency, it's a public document, the salary is there. But I can assure you that that salary you're looking at, if I spend it with you within 2 days, you will agree with me that we leaders actually suffer.
Salaries and allowances. He forgot to mention allowances. Salaries
everything put together. Everything put together, if I place it on the table with you for 1 week, you will borrow money from me.
Senator, try me first.
You will pity me.
Senator, try us first.
You won't even like to come into it, because it's not the way you see it. My dear sister, the burden is much on us politicians. We are suffering and smiling. But like I said, this prosperity that we campaign for is a mandate we sought for, and we must use it, to better the lives of our people. Even if it means us going off our way, like I personally do from time to time. If you come to my constituency, I can tell you some projects that are ongoing, which is not in the budget, but I am sponsoring those projects from my rice farm because I have the passion and my people need those services. For example, I can tell you some bridges I'm doing to connect village to village in my community, in my senatorial zone. You cannot see it in the book, but I cannot fold my hands as a leader and people being drawn when trying to cross the river to connect the next village. So these are things we are seeing, but many of you do not see it.
All right, just to confirm, Senator, this is your first time as a senator, is that correct?
Yes, I'm a first-timer in the Senate.
Do you plan to come back, after this first time, do you plan to come back a second time?
It's tough, it's really
because
tough.
Of the passion I have to continue to serve my people, I will be, asking for re-election.
So why I'm
Not
asking...
because I'm gaining anything as a person.
Just to clarify, why I'm asking this is because if you say that is as bad as you make it seem, why is there any intention for you to come back a second term?
Because I have the passion to serve. All depends on your motive in government. If your motive is to enrich yourself in government, then you are in a wrong path. Well, but if your motive for you to have the voice, to speak to people, and to ask for your then count me in, and that is why I'm here.
All right, Senator, as we wrap this conversation up, you've talked about the youths going into agriculture as well, and I'm happy that you are aware of the insecurity that's also affecting some of the states in Nigeria, where you do have predominantly a number of youths in terms of population. Talk about the Middle Belt, they have a high number of youths there as well. The northern states, I'm sure you're also aware of the Amajiri, the high number of youths who could actually expend their energies in ensuring that agriculture thrives. So when you say that the youth should look for something else and do, and possibly go into agriculture, there's insecurity there. So how do you expect them to survive while you want them to go into agriculture?
It's not just even insecurity. You know, there's a challenge with post-harvest loss.
A lot,
it's an issue that we're having to deal with. You know, and then this era of the rainfall, NIMET has warned of really strong rainfalls. We've seen the flash floods, the impact that this has had on our agricultural produce. So the young people, the talented, hardworking young Nigerian people who we celebrated yesterday on International Youth Day want to work, but the factors surrounding the current reality, in fact, they've taken the little that is existing and made the best out of what they can. But the factors bedeviling the Nigerian youth are too many to be able to surmount. So when you say you want them to do their own part and go into tech and go into agri, what about the surrounding realities that they have to deal with? You know, what, if you can maybe respond in 30 seconds so that we can wrap up this interview.
Deny the surrounding realities that is facing, that is hindering our development as a people, which includes insecurity in some states of the Federation. But you can see that the president is tackling the issue of insecurity headlong. You can see the sources recorded by our military, recently in Zamfara, in Benue, and of course in Jos. That shows that it's capable of eradicating this problem. Now, to the Nigerian youths, of course, you and I know that Nigerian youths are very hardworking people, very resilient people, and we are doing well all over the world. If you go to America today, the economy of America is being led by Nigerian youths. If you go to Canada, anywhere in the world, Nigerians are doing well. These people are not civil servants. Majority of them are businessmen. So that is the point I'm trying to make, that nothing good comes easy. It is time we look off white-collar job. White-collar job is for those that don't have any other options. But we have a lot of opportunity in Nigeria, which other youths have been exploring, and I want our other youths to look towards there. Government can only do the basics, which is providing the amenities and the infrastructure for us to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deputy Chief Whip of the Nigerian Senate, Senator Onyekachi Peter Nwebonyi. We thank you for your time. And hopefully, when the Senate resumes, we'll look forward to have you again to discuss on some pertinent issues and some of the bills that have been passed. But thank you so much. And we hope that while we are together in this struggle, we would also be together when it is good as well. Thank you.